Hello, welcome to my channel. The main rule for the quilting is that there are no rules. You will learn, you will watch others, and you will find the methods and ways of quilting that works for you. And that's the most important thing, because you need to find what works for you to be able to enjoy the process. What you will see is my process of working with different materials and different designs, and I hope some of those tips and tricks will help you in your own journey. Hi everyone, it's Paula from Paula Quilting. Welcome back to my channel. If you've seen a couple of my last videos where I was working with strings, you know, I was saying I'm keeping all of those offcuts when I was trimming them to the certain size to create another project out of those. So the time came to use those ones up now. So there is a nice pattern or block which I really like. Haven't done yet so, but I really like how it looks when I see the quilts made out of it. It's called a keyhole block. And usually how it's built, it's got 3 or 4 2.5 inch squares, and those squares are then framed with 2.5 inch strips, and it's a very jelly roll friendly, or if you have a bigger scraps to make enough for the size and obviously top and bottom, then you can use scraps for it as well, because definitely you should be able to cut 2.5 inch squares from really any scraps you may have. So like I said, I really like that pattern. So what I thought I will do out of those is a scrappy wonky keyhole pattern. So first thing I would like to do is trim them to 4.5 inch in one size. So they, as you can see, they are cut width-wise, you know, to different sizes, and I want to leave as much fabric as possible, but at least one of the dimension needs to be the same, so I can then put those blocks together. So I thought 4.5 inch I should be able to cut from every of those pieces, because 4.5 was the smallest string block I was working before, where those cut-offs come out from as well. So that's what I'm going to do. I will trim them to 4.5 inch in length, and I will leave the width whatever that is. And then I have gone through my cupboard with fabrics, and I pull out my solids, and I cut them all to 2.5 inch strips, and I will use that to frame them around. So again, I can cut some of those to 4.5 inch, but you know, at that point of time I will not know what the top and bottom border will need to be for those blocks, because each of them is different. So I will kind of work with those when I iron the sides. So first things first, I've got 84 of those pieces which I need to cut to 4.5 inch, and then I need to create 168 sides and 168 top and bottoms. So I've got 11, I believe, different shades here which I will be mixing and matching. So from each of them I will cut around 7-8 pairs. I will start from the fabric I've got, you know, the least amount, to make sure that, you know, it will be at least few of those colors, and then I will go up from it. So let me crack on with the cutting, and I will catch up when I'm ready to start sewing. I finished cutting my frames which will be going around the blocks, and I will just quickly show you how more or less it will look. Now just a comment about it. So depend on what kind of size of those blocks are, what strips you're working with, and what type of scraps of the plain fabric you will have. You may like to consider narrower strips to go around, because with these ones it will look quite chunky, but I just want to have a big blocks quickly to build up quite a big surface, because I do have a plan for those blocks. So obviously I want to make sure I can do them as quickly as I can. So this is how the block will look. I'll just put one here at the moment just to show you more or less. And I will, for starters, I will just chain piece those two pieces together, because they are all even edge. they're matching exactly. And then when I go to this side, obviously I'm gonna have to stitch it and then trim it to the size, because this part in the middle will be different for any piece I've got there. Okay, so I've sewn first 2 strips to the sides, and I iron the bits out, and I kind of do not like how they're coming. It's just that the background is too white here, and I just put the bits on top and bottom just to show you how it will look like, or any color really. So that, you know, I will still be adding the strips and the top and the bottom. And actually that bit in the middle just disappears in it. It's not showing the way I had it in my head. So I think we need to rescue those blocks. So 1.5 inch strip on the both sides would have been much better. However, I did say I would like to have that block wonky, so I need to do something to make it happen. So since it doesn't look that way, the way I want it, so I can make it wonky now. So I'm taking the block and I'm literally going just trim from both sides. I'm not measuring anything in between, or the angles or anything like that. I'm not checking any of those things. I'm just trimming them at the moment, just to add that wonkiness to it. Those bits are going to be put aside, and I will make some more blocks out of those. So I will show you in another tutorial how I use those ones up. And then just to make them also, go in different direction, when I'm cutting the other bit or the other block with the same color, I will go the other way. Again, I'm not measuring any distance at this point of time. I just want to make it wonky. So now I will add top and bottom to those blocks. Just find the green color which goes with it. Here you go, that's the one. Let me add it in and I will show you how that block looks when it's finished. Okay, so I've sewn the top and bottom and I did iron the blocks, and now I want to square them up. So they need to be 6.5 inch wide and whatever width of that block I've cut it to. So I'm just going to go with the top edge to square it up to first. And then since I'm on the other side now, I will just make sure that I am on one of the lines at the bottom. I need to turn the ruler just to get in some sort of line. There you go. And here we go. That's one wonky block. Let's do the other one. So here at the bottom I'm just aligning to any line I'm the closest to be able to just trim a little bit of the top, because that size is whatever comes up. I'm not worried about this size. It's just the block needs to be 6.5 inch wide. So those are the 2 blocks made. So I will carry on with those blocks, and I will show you when I've got a little bit more, just to see how they look mixed up, and also how they look in different colors, because I've got different frames obviously for those blocks as well. Okay, so I finished sewing some of my blocks, and I can show you now how they look when you put them together. So they are 6.5 inch in length, and then the width is whatever I could square them to, so that's vary from block to block, which is fine, because that's adding to the scrappiness and to the wonkiness of that design. So let me just put them on. There's one block I did just from 1.5 inch strips all around, so that's the straight one, and you know, I'm happy to add a few of those, because you know, if they are wonky here, then that kind of blends in nicely. But if I just make those, kind of, you've got the different design as well, so it's up to you how you want to go about that one. Okay, so I think they're coming out quite nicely, but I also think they would look nicely if I put them other way around. So not you know, that way, but if I do rows this way. And because they are 6.5 inch, you know, in one dimension, I could potentially mix them up with 6.5 inch blocks, you know, other blocks you might have, or I have. So if I only make so many of those blocks, I can fill in some of the gaps with either 6.5 by 6.5 square, or 4.5 by 6.5, or just, you know, if you got some nice jelly rolls, you could also add 2.5 by 6.5 strips. So that gives a lot of design freedom here to mix and match to whatever you've got. And because they are different widths, you kind of, when you sew them together, you might need to add at the beginning or the end something to make it even, for you to be able to square up the quilt top. So that might be a nice opportunity to add something. So that doesn't look bad either. So this is how it looks, the Wonky Keyhole Block. I think it came out quite nicely, and you can again use up all the scraps. Now you remember I've got now all of those cut-offs from squaring those 2.5 inch to what it is now. So I will be making another block from those as well, so keep watching. Thank you very much for joining me for this tutorial. If you haven't subscribed yet, I would recommend you do so you can you know, see the progress of different blocks and different designs. And if you hit the bell when you're subscribing, you'll be also notified about any new tutorials coming out. Please leave the comments if you have any. Put your thumbs up if you like this tutorial. That helps YouTube to kind of refer that tutorial to more people. And let your quilt friends as well know about this channel, so they can, you know, benefit from those ideas as well. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked what you saw, please subscribe to my channel to support my work. For further inspiration and examples of my work, you can check my Instagram or Facebook page. Happy creating!